While I'm no scagliola expert at all, I can tell you at this point that they've laid all their colors into the mold, and they've mixed up, I think, kind of a base coat here that they're in the process of locking in all their colors. And as this plaster sets up, they push it up the sides of the mold as well, to where they've got about 1/8 of an inch thick veneer over the whole mold with the colors locked in place, and at that point he'll be pouring a plaster back in the back of the mold. You can actually see the plaster start to set up and cure here. It gets to be a little bit thicker bodied, and they're able to push it up the sides and it'll stay in place.
The Pacific is just going to come right across the United States. So like Paul said, why are we even doing this?
Well, all of the color has been laid into the column mold, and the veneer now is about maybe a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch thick. It's cured just a little bit, and they're starting to mix up the plaster backing for this. And they're going to lay that into this mold that will give it the strength that it needs to stand. The plaster they just mixed up, they're in the process of squeegeeing it. Is that the right term, Denny?
Oh, just tooling in some plaster back here.
And you'll do that several times to get what, build up about 3/4 of an inch thick or so.
Yeah, 3/4 of an inch thick.
Yeah. And the real touchy work is over with, so I appreciate Denny letting me hang in on this. I know I was somewhat of a problem for him. Well, it's very hard to see, but they've laid 3 layers or 3 runs of mesh in here to reinforce it. And they will continue to add multiple layers of molding plaster to this form to get the required edge thickness of about 3/4 to 1 inch that will provide the strength to the column. So that work will go on. I'm going to leave for the day and come back about 3 o'clock, and I hope they will be pulling this from the form. About 7 hours ago, Danny and his crew started laying up this Scag column. And it's 3 in the afternoon on Monday, April 16th, I think it is. And we're going to pull this column out of the mold soon, and you can see that he's got all the backing up done right here. So it's about 3/4 to an inch thick now. It's got a aluminum framework that's laid in here that will hold the spread on the column and that will allow it to be mounted to the wall. So that's what we're going to be doing in a few moments here, is trying to pull this column out of the mold. And it's worked well in the past. You can see all the other ones over here. They're just completing their cure and getting ready to be sanded and polished to their final finish. Well, they're having a little strategy session on how they're going to get this out of the mold. I think what they're going to do is pick up the mold with the column in it and flip it upside down and get the column sitting on the floor. But we'll see what happens.
Hope it didn't hurt itself.
You think it's,
And this is the first one. Well, we come on.
Danny, you think it's in one piece or four pieces?
Oh, it will be at least one piece.
Okay. At least one piece, all right.
Yeah, that's coming right up. Let's take this down here and set it on that rack. If we can get it here. Yeah. Just for now. Just to get out of the way. And we can just lay it down upside down, guys, it'll be all right.
So that's what a scagliola column looks like, fresh out of the mold.
That'll be a good one.
Success, Paul?
Yeah, I think so.
It'll be fine. Okay, I'll take the fun part.
All right, now we were going to.
Nice job, guys. Well, the same day the column comes out of the mold, they use a diamond pad and water as lubricant and give it an initial sand, I guess I would call it. So that's the first step in the finishing process.
Ready?
Yep. Okay, Paul, let's just put a little water on there. Is that a 220 grit diamond then?
Yep.
Uh-huh. Okay. And Paul's trying to help me understand how quickly it changes the appearance as he starts his polishing operation. Probably polishing is the wrong term, but
Oh, that's it. It's already changing.
mm-hmm. All of a sudden that turquoise tint is starting to come out a little bit. Well, thanks, Paul.
Yep.